Okay, what? Huh, that was weird. Hello, Shawario. Welcome to the stream. Glad you can make it. Hello there, everybody. This is General Snivy, and welcome to my new Let's Play. Today, we're playing through Sonic Adventure. To be technical, we're playing Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. You may be wondering, that's not the right title screen. Doesn't the DX version have a completely different title screen? Well, you would be correct. And the reason why for the original game's title screen being displayed here is because of a mod that I'm going to be showcasing throughout this playthrough. It is known as BetterSADX, and it showcases basically a series of mods to enhance the gameplay experience and also to better represent the way the original Dreamcast version was represented, while also bringing that version of the game more or less over to the modern era. So what I mean by that is it basically enhances the graphics, textures, the lighting, everything from the ground up to make it a lot better looking, honestly. So I figure I'd show that off throughout the course of this playthrough. So basically, BetterSADX, upon installation, you'll get a series of mods, and all of these are on by default, which are SADX:FE, input mod, smooth camera, pause hide, frame limit, onion skin blur, idle chatter, Steam achievements, I'm guessing that's like a Steam achievements integration, Mimic Dreamcast textures, which is the big one, Lantern engine, which is an entire reworking of the game's lighting engine. I'll get more into that later. There's also improved voice clips, the Dreamcast conversion, of course, that is the mainstay of the show, HD GUI, or General User Interface 2, I'm guessing that's version 2, and same sort of thing with Xbox 360 buttons, BetterSADX itself, and there's also one more mod known as Supersonic, and that was actually modded in with BetterSADX. It is disabled by default, but you can choose to turn it on if you wish. So, it's not only this, but there are a couple of other mods you can also choose to enable or disable. And not only does it include these mods that I listed and several others, you can also import your own series of mods to further enhance the gameplay experience, or if you just feel like changing the music around. Whatever you choose to do is entirely up to you. Plus, with BetterSADX, it also allows you to play the game at a much higher resolution. such as 1080p, 4K, which is insane. Yeah, you can play this in 4K if you want it. And yeah, there's just a lot that this mod brings to the table. So with that in mind, let's create a new file and get things started. Let's start our adventure.
Select a character.
So, this series, or more or less this game in particular, allows you to play through the game as several characters. We have, of course, Sonic the Hedgehog, Miles Tails Prower, Knuckles, Amy Rose, Big the Freaking Cat, and E102 Gamma. As we play through Sonic's story, we will be unlocking all the remaining characters. And of course, I will be playing through all of Adventure Mode, unlocking all the characters, and this is going to be a 100% playthrough. By 100%, I mean I'm going to be getting all the emblems, and I'm also going to be completing the entirety of Mission Mode, which is what was added in Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. Speaking of SADX Director's Cut, originally that game released on the Nintendo GameCube, which was then enhanced by the original Dreamcast release, which was back in, I believe, either 1999 or was it 2000? Regardless, though, Sonic Adventure is a pretty old game, and yeah, it definitely has shown its age. But with, of course, like I mentioned before, BetterSADX, it has community members and modders have really taken advantage of not only the enhanced models of which SADX provided, but also gave more of a modern coat of paint to make it more so mimic the Dreamcast models, while also maintaining the higher poly count of which the Sonic Adventure DX originally had back on the GameCube. Over the years, Sonic Adventure DX has been ported over again and again. After the GameCube release, it was then ported over to PC, which wasn't Steam, by the way. It was its own physical PC release. Then I believe it was later, that port was then brought over to Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and then that port was brought over to Steam. So, what a conundrum, am I right? I mean, a lot of people put their heart and soul into bringing Sonic Adventure DX into the modern era. You gotta love the Sonic community, am I right? So with that in mind, let's go.
Let's get him.
By the way, one thing I'm going to go ahead and note that now is if you two are interested in this mod in any way or wish to install it yourself, type in !BetterSADX, all in one word. Nightbot will give you some basic information about the mod itself, and will direct you to the Steam community page for it. Also, BetterSADX itself, along with all other mods, are updated on a continuous basis, and are still being updated to this very day.
You are completely surrounded! Surrender yourself! Lock on target, men! Ready? Fire! Oh no! Our weapons are useless! Retreat! All personnel, fall back!
You gotta love the cheese. And let me tell you folks, it's gonna get even cheesier. Say hello to our first boss, folks. Chaos Zero. Of course, I'm already getting my ass kicked. Great. So this boss really is nothing to worry about whatsoever. Even though, again, I keep getting my butt handed to me because I'm rushing in far too quickly. And done.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
I'm done.
Come on, you big drip. Where you going?
To Miami. That's where it's going. Kidding.
You know nothing, fool. It's Chaos, the god of destruction.
The god of destruction, eh? Sounds like a real fun time, let me tell you.
Huh?
What the hell?
What? Tails?
What the hell's going on here?
Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
Quality acting!
Tails! Now, what am I gonna do with you?
No kidding. Well, better rush in and see if he's alright, which I'm sure he's fine. I mean, hello, he survived worse. Trust me. So, anyway, the whole point of us... I think I've already talked about the whole point of BetterSADX and what that was all about, for the most part. But I haven't really talked about the texture rework. From what I've seen online, the original Dreamcast had higher quality and better looking textures than any release of Sonic Adventure DX, like, ever. That includes the GameCube release. It also, apparently, the Dreamcast also had a better lighting engine than Sonic Adventure DX. I don't know why that is, but apparently that was the case. Fun. Alright, let's head to the first stage. So anyway, Sonic Adventure DX, or just Sonic Adventure in general, is more or less the first major 3D Sonic game to ever surface. And even back in the day, it was considered one of the best 3D Sonic games there is. And even though today a lot of people don't really look at this so fondly, for its time, it definitely really set the groundwork for future 3D Sonic games, and the standards were raised quite a bit around that time. Of course, then the standards were raised even higher with the help of course, Sonic Generations, and that's just been the golden standard ever since, but I digress. I mean, it is what it is. So another thing about BetterSADX is, I mentioned before there were like better quality voice samples as one of the mods. Apparently, the voice clips, along with several other things, were butchered in Sonic Adventure DX, which, funny enough, I never even knew about until I've did some research on the topic, and on Sonic Adventure DX, for that matter. So it's quite an interesting read, or just an interesting time to figure things out when it comes to researching Sonic Adventure DX in general, and how it was ported over the years, and how it was changed as well. And also what fans did to restore Sonic Adventure DX, or just Sonic Adventure in general, and bring it over to the modern era. So anyway, Sonic Adventure DX, or just Sonic Adventure in general, introduced quite a few things, other than the fact that the game is fully 3D, not like Sonic 3D Blast was a thing, because let's be real here, it is, but we don't talk about it. Ha, kidding. It has its place, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, not bad.
Anywho, stage is done. I'll get more into other things that this game introduced later on.
Hey, Sonic! Long time no see, huh?
I'm just glad you're okay. What happened anyway? You're too good of a pilot to just crash like that.
That was a test run using a new prototype propulsion system. It's got a few bugs to iron out.
You think?
Why not just use my plane, the Tornado?
Thanks, but you gotta check out my newest power supply. Ta-da!
Whoa! A Chaos Emerald!
Question, where did you pull that out from?
I just happened to find one of the Southern Emeralds during one of my test flights. This thing's got unlimited power, you know. So I figured, why not use it to power my plane? Supercharge!
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Gotta come over to my workshop, Sonic. I've got something I've gotta show you. It's in the Mystic Ruins. The fastest way is by train. Let's go!
So, as we encounter more and more characters throughout Sonic's story and complete corresponding stages, those characters will become unlocked and we can play as them. Like, right now, if I wanted to, I could just exit out of here and start Tails' story if I wanted, but I'm not going to do that because we still have Sonic's story to go through yet. Also, technically speaking, we have an upgrade right over there, and you're supposed to use another ability we're going to be getting later on in order to even get to this upgrade. But it's possible to sequence break this. It's actually possible to sequence break and get this upgrade early. Of course, you gotta get a good angle. Like I said, you gotta get a good angle, you gotta get a good jumping arc, and you gotta be fast. And you also have to be sure not to hit the walls either. Basically, the idea to sequence break that particular upgrade is to open the door, spin dash, jump all the way over here. Ah, just missed it. So, spin dash jumping, how does this work? Well, you hold down the spin dash button, which on 360 is the X button, or if you're playing on the GameCube, that would be the B button. Hold it down, and as soon as you release, immediately hit the jump button. And here's our upgrade, right here, as we jitter in place for a bit.
This is the Crystal Ring. This reduces the time needed to store power for the Lightspeed Dash.
So despite the fact that we just got our hands on an upgrade much earlier than anticipated, we cannot use this new ability yet. We can't use the Lightspeed Dash. Oh! Hello! Bumble Shark! Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I highly appreciate it, dude. Sorry I didn't quite see it earlier, but hey, welcome to the sub club, buddy. Highly appreciate the sub once again. Enjoy your emote, buddy, and also enjoy your badge. You earned it, my friend. Anyway, off we go.
Train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
So like I said, the spin dash jump it's considered one of the most broken mechanics and also one of the more useful mechanics in both this game as well as Sonic Adventure 2, where that mechanic also returned, but it was refined a bit. Also, there is technically an emblem here. I think you're supposed to grab this with another character like Tails, but again, spin dash jump is OP! It'd be broken as crap, and you can grab it early. I love sequence breaking these 3D Sonic games. It's just so much fun. So anyway, off to the Mystic Ruins. So, another thing that this game introduced is, of course, full-fledged voice acting. And by full-fledged, I obviously mean, like, just voice acting in general for more or less the story bits. Some of the side things, not so much, but you get the idea. Also, I'm going to leave that egg alone. I'll be picking that up later. Anyway, So not only did this game introduce voice acting, but it also introduced the whole hub world system. Sadly, this did not make a return in the sequel Sonic Adventure 2, but it did eventually return in like Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, which a lot of people despise, but thanks. Thank you, Bumbleshark. I'm glad that you enjoyed my content. Anyway, off we go.
If it isn't Sonic!
Look, it's a giant talking egg.
Silence!
I am Dr. Robotnik, the greatest scientific genius in the world!
Whatever you say, Eggman.
Enough! I've got big plans, and now I'm gonna put them to work.
You're always up to no good. Now what do you want?
I want all of the Chaos Emeralds. Better not interfere, or else!
Or else what, you big loser?
Or else I'll take them from you by force, the hard way.
Okay. Another first? This is where Dr. Eggman came into play. The whole Dr. Eggman thing. Technically speaking, Dr. Ivo Robotnik has always been known as Eggman in Japan for years. And this game, in particular... Ah, dang it. I wanted to show off a pretty cheesy strat, which I did manage to pull off during a practice playthrough I've done several months ago. But, whatever. No big deal. Anyway, like I was saying, Eggman is a thing now. That's the way it's always been. And that's the cheese strat. It's pretty easy to pull off, believe it or not. One of the easiest strategies there is. And that is, as soon as the Egg Hornet slams itself into the ground, mash the homing attack over and over and over again. And then you'll win. It's literally that easy.
Well, that wasn't so hard.
Okay, question. Why did Tails just pull out the emerald there? You knew he was still around. He may have had another trick up his sleeve, like this. Hello?
Come on, Chaos. Time to eat.
Chaos?
Also, that emerald is floating right now. It was like this in the original SADX as well, without mods. Just saying.
Oh no, isn't that the same monster I saw the other day?
You gotta love limitations of graphical prowess.
Oh, yes. It's just as the stone tablets predicted. His strength increases every time I feed him a Chaos Emerald. With all 7 emeralds in him, he'll be invincible and work for me. Together, we'll destroy Station Square.
Yes,
And on its ruins,
Tails
I'll
done
build
goofed.
Robotnik Land, the ultimate city, where I will rule it all. Come on, Chaos, let's find another emerald, shall we?
Also, Eggman just threw a flashbang. How is Sonic and Tails not blinded right now?
Sonic! We can't let him get away with this, can we?
No way, Tails.
Without more emeralds, the monster can't transform. So, it's up to us to get the emeralds before Eggman does, huh?
Nah, really? I thought we were gonna just sit back, relax, have a nice cold drink, and think about our life choices. Nah. Instead, we're gonna break the game some more, because why not? So, anyway, I may not exactly remember where each and every single field emblem is at this point in time, but I will try to collect as many as I can. And regardless of which character you play as, the emblems in the field will always be in the same spot, so that is something worth mentioning. I was going to say something. Now, what the hell was it? I know that Tails goofed up quite substantially. Damn it. What was it? Now I can't remember. Alright, let's head on off to the next stage, which is Windy Valley. One thing I will go ahead and get out of the way here is Sonic's story is going to be the longest story out of all character stories in the entire game. I'm dead serious, too. Once we finish Sonic's story, it'll be smooth sailing from there. It'll go by in the blink of an eye, like faster than Sonic can even move. Just saying. Okay.
Head straight up. You should be able to get out of a tornado.
So anyway, this little pixie-like sprite there, believe it or not, her name is Tikal. Tikal made her appearance in this game, and we'll actually see her in another form later on. For now, though, she basically serves as a guide. Nothing more, nothing less. So if you want to know the fastest way of going through these stages, spin dash like crazy. Speaking of speed running, the Dreamcast conversion mod is technically not allowed to be used at all, but BetterSADX can still be used, as it has technically incorporated several fixes, such as bug fixes, and also some improved controls, improved camera, and things like that. There's more information displayed on the game's leaderboards of what you can and cannot install with BetterSADX. And when you are installing BetterSADX for the first time, it will give you an option of either installing either all of the mods or just the minimalist amount of mods for, you know, just... Oh, you gotta love that too. Anyway, back to what I was saying. There's the full package, and there's also the minimalist, which, like I mentioned before, just includes the fixes. Also, Tails is staring at my soul without really moving much.
Yeah, not bad.
Tails, you're creeping me out. Stop it. Get some help.
The train headed towards Station Square will be departing soon.
Okay. Well, at least we got ourselves another emerald, which, by the looks of it, is kind of weird. Technically speaking, Tails had and lost the purple Chaos Emerald, yet we got another one. Plot holes! Be careful, because they're quite big, and it's easy to get stuck. Fun times, am I right? So, if you are trying to figure out where to go to next, Tikal will appear in random spots in different parts of either Station Square or the Mystic Ruins, as well as one other area, which we'll be getting into later.
There's a place somewhere in the city where you can go down into the sewer.
So yeah, find Tikal and she'll gladly tell you where to go to next. In we go. Anyway, the sewers really is nothing really to sneeze at. You gotta love the sewage system sometimes. Anywho, say hello to this upgrade.
Now you've got light speed shoes. Press and hold the action button to store up power. Once you have enough power, release the button and you can do the light speed dash. The light speed dash lets you race toward rings at light speed. As long as there's a trail of rings, you can go just about anywhere.
Very true. Funny enough, this sort of mechanic did return in Sonic Adventure 2, but they really screwed the pooch on that one. And we'll get into the reasons why at a later point in time. Right now, though, we got some work to do. Also, another thing worth noting as well is that there are some emblems that are only specifically able to be grabbed as certain characters. Just figure I'd throw that out there. As much fun as it is to be able to spin dash jump till the freaking cows come home, there are some emblems that are just simply out of reach. Anyway, our next stop is, believe it or not, this casino here. But to get there, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is just hit a switch and lightspeed dash through the switch. It's literally as simple as that. Welcome to Casinopolis. The objective of this place is to gather enough rings in order to be able to get the Chaos Emerald at the end of the stage. Before we head there and collect said rings, there are a couple of ways you can get the required number of rings, and those two ways are playing pinball, as well as intentionally failing one of the minigames, or pinball tables rather. How do you fail a pinball game exactly? Well, you have to score a minimum of 100 rings, or at the very least have 100 rings by the time you finish a pinball table. You finish it by obviously losing your balls. Not what I was trying to imply, but you know what I mean. You start with 3 balls, and as Sonic falls into the abyss again and again, you will lose those balls, just like real-life pinball. Sometimes you do have some control over the pinball and where you can go with it, but most of the time that's not really the case. It all comes down to a bit of RNG, and also the physics for the pinball are kind of wonky. So the idea, or no, like I was trying to allude before, there are 2 different pinball games that you can play here. The first one is a reference to Knight's Journey into Dreams or something? Regardless, it's another Sega IP which originally released on the Sega Saturn, later remade for the Nintendo Wii. Haven't played the game in any form whatsoever. But Knights is referenced quite a lot with a lot of Sega's properties. Yeah, they are quite goofy, and are quite a lot of fun to play. If you're a speedrunner, you would not want to play this particular pinball game at all, because it is way too slow when it comes to gathering rings. But honestly, it is the most fun, in my honest opinion. There is another pinball table I am going to be showing off later, like after we finish up here. So when it comes to the Knight's pinball table, the idea is to hit Sonic in his ball form and collect a bunch of these cards until eventually you get what are like pairs, 2 pairs, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, full house, and I'm not sure if there's a royal flush or anything of the sort. It's kind of like poker in a sense, but not quite poker. It's more like hit the ball, pray you get some matches, get some pairs. After you collect 5 cards, it'll determine whether or not you get a match. Whether you're matching a single pair or multiple pairs, like 2 pairs, 3 of a kind, etc., etc. You get the idea. Also, this sound effect was excluded in basically all releases of Sonic Adventure DX, but again, thanks to BetterSADX and the improved voice clips and other things of the sort, the sound effect was added back in. So that's pretty interesting. Funny enough, I didn't even know that sound effect even existed until my practice playthrough several months ago. There's also another voice clip which was, again, removed for unknown reasons, but that'll come into play later on. Okay. Oh, nice. Another one pair. Another one? Sweet. Wow, that's pretty sweet. I'm not sure what would happen if you managed to get all 7 spears to show up in the center area. If I have to guess, you'd probably get a massive jackpot of 500 rings, maybe? Regardless, it's a lot. It's a lot of rings. Also, I'm just going to intentionally let the balls run out, just because I want to show off the other pinball game that you can play here. By the way, if you lose your ball at any time, any cards you picked up, they're automatically dropped. So, that's done. After you're finished playing a pinball game, just head here and deposit your rings. I believe in order to reach the Chaos Emerald here, you need 400 rings at minimum.
Try and deposit as many rings as you can. It may even help show you the way.
Very funny. But in actuality, that is quite true. You can also smack around these slot machines if you wish, but it's not a very efficient way of getting rings. The more efficient way, I'll actually be showing off relatively soon. This is the other pinball game that you can choose to play here. And for this one, again, it is pretty efficient when it comes to ring collection. But it's not the most efficient way to collect rings. Trust me, it isn't. By the way, it's possible to, quote-unquote, tilt the pinball machine, or just shake the ever-loving crap out of it, by moving the analog stick or just holding it in any given direction. TK ball. Neat. I think what that does, it acts as a bonus time sort of event, where the bottom portion of the pinball thing is blocked off a little bit, but it is still possible to lose your ball. By the way, to use both flippers at once, you can just simply hit the A button. Or you can use either left trigger or right trigger to use the individual flippers. I find it more efficient to use, just simply push the A button. It's way easier. Couldn't quite get in there. Whatever. All you'll find in there are just some capsules, as well as some extra lives. Which, looking at our current lives count, we got plenty. We got plenty to work with here, so we'll be fine. By the way, if you want to grind lives, this is definitely the stage to do it in. And the reason why is, due to the nature of the pinball games, they're giving rings away like freaking candy. Ring 3K. It does not give you 3,000 rings, unfortunately. Instead, again, it only serves as just a bonus gate. Dang it. One other thing worth noting is that if you have a bonus game going on within this pinball table, the minigame still technically goes on until the timer runs out. So that is something worth mentioning. Even if you lose your ball midway through, it doesn't matter. You, at the very least, can still... Also, the physics on this table are incredibly jank beyond comprehension. I don't understand it. They're just weird. It's just plain weird. But, again, it is what it is. Excuse me. By the way, as far as the other method, or more or less the fastest method of getting rings in the stage, I will be showing that off later when we're going to be doing emblem grinding, which is going to be fun, let me tell you. For now, though, we just need to gather enough rings until eventually we'll get the number of rings desired. Anyway, like I mentioned before, you need, I believe, 400 rings in order to reach the Chaos Emerald. Normally. There is a way you could perform a task strat that involves going out of bounds and grabbing the emerald that way. Because believe it or not, there is an invisible wall between the giant pile of rings you deposit and the emerald itself. And that wall only disappears once you obtain the correct number of rings, or deposit the correct number of rings. Even if you deposit more than enough rings to get to the emerald, you still wind up with 0 rings at the very end of the stage. Unless you choose to play more pinball, or do some more ring grinding in a very specific location. Oh, nice! Never in my life would I would think I would get something like that. That's definitely a first for me, that's for sure. Also, glitch. Yeah, even with the mods and stuff, the game is still buggy as crap. And even if you're playing vanilla, the game really does show its age. You gotta love the wonky physics sometimes. By the way, if you want to know what happens if you don't happen to have 100 rings after you finish a pinball game, also, come on, Sonic, work with me here.
Yes.
What happens is you get thrown into the sewers. And like I've mentioned before, that is how you're going to be getting your hands on a bunch of rings within a short period of time. And it's essential for later missions, trust me. Ooh, what is that? We'll find out momentarily.
Yeah. Hey. Oh no, the Chaos Emerald.
Oh, no, you don't!
Oh, jeez. Hey, man.
Okay, question. Couldn't you still just grab the emerald anyway and just went into a ball position and held it for dear life? Instead of just taking it like a man?
What happened to that emerald we just had?
I guess Eggman's got one of them. But the other one's safe. That guy must be desperate.
That means his 2 to our 1, and that's not good. Come on, Sonic, we need to get busy.
No kidding. We need to get moving. Alright. So as you can see, we have this weird ice stone here, and we kind of need it in order to access a later stage in Mystic Ruins. Believe it or not, there are objects in the world you can actually carry to and from one location to another, which is pretty interesting. Alright. So one thing worth noting is that whenever you're carrying an object of any kind, whether it be a stone or something else entirely, your controls are slightly limited, so you can't use the homing attack, for example, while you're holding the stone. But you can still move around at full speed, and, well, you can, dang it, you can also jump as well. So, I figure I'd throw that out there. By the way, Sonic cannot swim, obviously, so if he's in the water, you're in trouble. Of course, we will have to go swimming a few times throughout this playthrough. Hey, welcome to the next stage, Ice Cap Zone. This stage can actually be approached in several different ways. My favorite is breaking it into 1,000,000 pieces. Like this. Speaking of breaking it, our next objective is to bring down an icicle.
Ready, go.
Okay, that was clearly not the right direction to go, but whatever. I'm further in. I'll figure it out in due time. And besides, like I mentioned before, for later parts of the game, or when we do the emblem grinding, we're going to need to be using these broken strats. Well, okay, maybe not, but we kind of do in order to get further into the stage, or just finish him within an efficient manner. Just saying. So believe it or not, learning speedrunning strats for this game is pretty essential in order to even consider going after all the emblems in the game. Also, this entire next section can technically be skipped by once again going out of bounds. I don't know how to do this, so screw it. Let's just go. Avalanche! By the way, that snowboard that's not Sonic's riding, it can be one of two different colors. Either this blue one here or a yellow one. Every time you replay the stage again and again, it will be either this color or the yellow one. So, that's something worth mentioning. Anyway, the snowboarding section really is nothing too difficult or nothing to sneeze at whatsoever. It might still be possible that you could die, but it's very unlikely. By the way, while you're snowboarding down this mountain, it does limit your controls quite a bit, and of course the controls for this entire section is wank on the cob. Let me tell you, it's one of the jankiest control schemes I've ever seen in a video game. But it's something. It's still fun to snowboard, don't get me wrong, but again, like I said, just being able to control this thing, it's not easy. You will be fighting the controls throughout the entire section, but really it's not that bad. Just move left and right, focus on moving left and right, and you'll be fine. Of course, holding the analog stick forward does allow you to move slightly faster, but it's not really all that useful in casual play, with one exception later down the line. And for those of you who have played mission mode or tried to do it in completion, sweet Jesus, you know exactly what I'm goddamn talking about. But we'll cross that road when we get to it. For now, let's get out of here. Alrighty. Well, at least we got ourselves another Chaos Emerald, so that's pretty sweet. Now then, onward to the next big thing.
The train headed for Station Square will be departing soon.
Oh hey, Knuckles. How you doing, buddy? Say, aren't you supposed to be on Angel Island right now?
What's up, Knuckles? Something bugging you?
No time for games, Sonic. Give me the emeralds you have, right now.
Why?
What? Let's just see you take them. Huh.
Also, say hello to the first of several character battles in this game. They're a complete joke.
Give it your best. Oh no.
Give me your pet. Oh no. That is just the best.
The Chaos Emeralds.
Oh no. Why didn't you just get your ass up?
Like taking candy from a baby.
Donk. Why are you standing there? Hit him, damn it!
That's a Chaos Emerald. That's right, fool. You made it all too easy. You practically gave them to me.
Which we technically are now.
Hold it right there, creep. You can't get away with this. Knuckles, don't tell me Eggman tricked you again.
Me? What about you?
Way to go, Knucklehead.
No kidding.
Now I have 4 lovely emeralds. Chaos!
Oh my. Did he?
These are for you, my friend.
Oh my.
Oh, he transformed again.
No.
No
Really?
one cuts us any slack.
Okay. Well, after that joke of a boss battle, now we have Chaos 4. Great. This fight, again, really isn't too difficult whatsoever. I say this as I'm practically on death's doorstep. Anyway. Throughout this battle, we will be moving around in swamp water, which, oddly enough, Sonic does not sink within for whatever reason. It was like this in the original as well as SADX. I'm just saying. Kind of weird how we're able to just walk on the water and just jump. By the way, another thing worth noting is, technically speaking, this game did not first introduce the homing attack system, but it was the first to make it standard. If you want to know when it was originally first introduced, it was introduced as a power-up in Sonic 3D Blast, which I will be getting to at some point. Obviously not right now, but hey, it is what it is. So when it comes to fighting Chaos 4, like I mentioned before, he really isn't anything too difficult whatsoever. All you really have to do is just jump around like a freaking rabbit, or if you're playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 or Black Ops 4, just saying. Jump around like a try-hard dude. Boop. By the way, throughout the course of the fight, Chaos 4 will try to destroy the lily pads that you're currently standing on and others around you. They're not really destroyed, they're more like sunk into the ground, or sunk within the swamp. And no, we're not going to be finding any ogres here. If that would be the case, that would be pretty sweet. Goodbye.
Hey, I'll play with you some other time.
Done and done. Honestly, Chaos 4, like I said, not too bad of a boss. There's just a lot of waiting around. Plain and simple.
Behold my floating masterpiece, the Egg Carrier! But it pales in comparison to the power of chaos. Adieu, until we meet again, my friends!
Hey, we can't let him get away! Let's get to my workshop and we'll take the tornado!
Yeah.
You guys go. I have some unfinished business to take care of.
No problem, Knuckles. We'll take care of everything here.
Come on! Let's get going!
Okay, off we go. Also, to answer your question, no, I haven't really thought about speedrunning this game, but the thought has most certainly crossed my mind a few times. More so Sonic Adventure 2, if anything.
Sonic, wait here for a second.
But, again, maybe, but not right now. And even if I wanted to, I'd have to uninstall BetterSADX and just input or install the minimalist version of BetterSADX if I want to speedrun this game. Just saying. You gotta admit, this is pretty cool.
Sonic, hop in! Let's go!
Alright, off we go. Welcome to Sky Chase Act 1. One of a few sub-games that we can play. Also, the controls for this are wank on the cob! If anyone's played any flying game ever, knows that up is down, and down is up. Not in this game. It is the complete other freaking opposite, where up is up, down is down. It's complete bonkers. And of course, the controls do take some time to get used to. So anyway, the controls are pretty simple. Obviously, you move with the analog stick. And if you want to fire homing missiles, hold down the A button and put the targeting cursor over the enemies. I believe you can lock on up to 8 targets at once. Afterwards, you won't be able to lock on to any more enemies until at least one of them is destroyed or leaves your screen via the homing missile. By the way, this sub-game, like I mentioned, it actually has 2 emblems that you can get. The first emblem is just simply completing the minigame. And once we reach the end, that emblem will be awarded. However, there is a high score that you need to meet in order to get its second emblem, which is not easy. And as you can see here, I'm clearly failing hard. Funny enough, this emblem right here was one of the last emblems I picked up before the whole other side game is introduced here. By the way, the high score that you need to reach in order to even get the second emblem is 8,000. As far as I remember, that is the score. And we're clearly short by almost 2,000 points, which is ouch. Thankfully, we will get another chance to play this sub-game again later on in another character story.
We did it!
But I'll happily just take the one and be on my way. Ow. Well, that sucked. Well, funny enough, this, along with Sonic Adventure 2, did end up getting a sort of a reenactment or a retelling of both this and the sequel Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic X, which is a whole other can of worms, which we'll be getting into in another time.
Tails! You're not who I'm looking for.
Sheesh. Talk about rude.
I wonder if he's okay.
Okay, question. Why is she just staring at us? Does she think we have a nice ass? Or what? Nah, I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's something simpler, like, she just wants to see if we're alright, and that's all there is to it. Anyway, after that little incident, unfortunately we did end up getting separated from Tails, and he is someplace completely different. Getting to him is not going to be easy, considering that we can't quite, we can't return to the Mystic Ruins at this point in time. Instead, we kind of have to do a little bit of running around here.
Why don't you try going to the casino?
That seems like a good idea. I could use a distraction right about now. Maybe a few drinks. Give me some of that Lipton twisted tea. That would be fantastic.
Long time no see!
Amy.
What's wrong with you anyway? Listen, this birdie seems to be in trouble, so you need to be his bodyguard for a while.
How about no?
If you don't, we're just gonna tag along anyway.
Well, after that little brief encounter, we can now play as Amy. So, that's nice. Anyway, Amy's gonna be tagging along with us for a little bit. Red screen much?
problem. He's just a chunk of cheesy hardware.
Whoa!
What?
Oh, now what? Huh?
Look here! It says, cute couples get in free! Let's go!
How? I'm not sure if that applies to us, Amy.
Wait! Oh, man. That girl is such a pain.
Too funny. Because it's true. Alright, on to the next stage. Twinkle Park. And you can definitely see how the Dreamcast conversion lighting just completely revitalized this stage. As in Sonic Adventure DX, this looked a lot more bland, but here it looks a lot more lively, like an actual theme park should, and not one from Hell or from Space Jam, if you know what I mean. Anyway, this stage is divided into two sections. The first section really isn't too bad. You do have to take this cart here in order to reach the next section. Okay, what? That was complete bullshit. Also kind of funny how the cart explodes, and I kind of exploded with it. Talk about a violent, gruesome death. Oh, damn it. I got stuck on the freaking wall. Yes, I have heard of the new Sonic movie, and did you see the original trailer for that thing? Sweet Jesus, it looked like someone in a pair of blue spandex. But it did later receive like a overhaul in Sonic's character design to make him actually look more like Sonic the freaking Hedgehog. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I hear it's pretty damn good. It's not groundbreaking or great or anything, but it's good. For a video game adaptation, it's definitely something, from what I hear. Of course, I can't say with absolute certainty what it's actually like, because I haven't seen the movie myself, therefore I have no opinion on it. Also, forgive me if the game hitches every now and again or freezes. I'm not sure why that is. It does that. Whatever, my computer's weird. So, anyway, this first section really isn't too bad, even though I did end up kicking the bucket twice. Anywho, the controls for the little... I'm not really sure what you call this thing. I would call it more like a hovercraft, bumper car thing. Let's just call it a hovercraft for simplicity's sake. It's really not that bad. You just hold the A button to go. Of course, if you want to turn more efficiently, you will have to release the A button because there's no braking system. Alright, on to the next section. One thing's for sure, this next section really gets fun. Because it's essentially one big giant circle. And all we have to do here is just get to the very top, and then we win. Also, I'm the bowling king, apparently. Sweet. Getting a strike on the bowling pins awards you a bunch of rings, which you will have to pick up on your own in order to pick them up. And yeah, they do disappear over time, so you gotta be quick. And even if you don't get all the pins, you still get some rings for the number of pins you knock down. Other than that, though, it's really not that bad. Also, time to break the game even more. Whee! Okay, not quite. I just casually ran up a wall. And that's what I get for breaking the game. Ah, whatever. No big deal. We'll just go back through again. By the way, even if you fall back down and redo a bowling section, no pins will show up and you just have to shoot your way across. Now, let's try that again without falling this time. Or losing all of our momentum at the wrong moment. I don't know why that works, but it does. And it's hilarious. Doing that allows you to skip basically the entirety of the stage, which is pretty nice. By the way, those switches that are around, all they do is create ring paths, which allow you to collect more rings. So if you're ever short on rings, you can just hit it and be on your way. No problem.
Yes.
And there we go. Stage is done. Already. Although I should have finished it way earlier because I broke it the first time through. It's always fun to break the stage again. Always.
Not bad.
I love sequence breaking this game. Of course, there are even crazier strats that speedrunners do. But trust me.
Oh, shoot! I've lost Amy. I bet that robot hauled butt after her. I'd better catch her before it does.
Before we do, let's take a look at this little thing here. Twinkle Circuit. I believe in the original release, every character has the ability to play the Twinkle Circuit minigame. But in Sonic Adventure DX, only Sonic is allowed to play it. Which, I guess that makes sense, considering you only need to play through Twinkle Circuit once in order to unlock the emblem for this minigame. I'm not sure if there's one emblem or if there's two. Regardless, though, it is something to keep in mind. The emblem you can get here is just by simply completing the entirety of Twinkle Circuit. And I believe you have to set a new high score, like a fast completion time. So the strategy for this particular circuit is to go as fast as you can, collect as many rings as possible, because the more rings you collect, not only will it increase your top speed, but it will also increase your acceleration speed. This also applied with Twinkle Park in its first section with Sonic. Just saying. Also, it is possible to fall off the track and die. And if that would happen, you would obviously lose a life if you're playing the adventure mode. And you would have to redo the entire circuit all over again. So that is something worth mentioning. And like I said, in order to get tighter turning, you do have to release the accelerator. And if you do end up hitting a wall, yeah, you're going to be losing a lot of speed, basically immediately. Also, you gotta love that woohoo crap. It's my favorite. You know what I mean? I'm done. And that is Twinkle Circuit. So, like I said, only Sonic can play Twinkle Circuit in Sonic Adventure DX. But if you're playing the original Dreamcast release, then you can play it, I believe, with all characters after you find a particular object within the adventure field. And funny enough, that has been added into the mod itself. When the game gets modded, it also adds in the ability to play Twinkle Circuit with all characters after they obviously unlock Twinkle Circuit for themselves. Just saying. Then again, maybe it's a new thing only added to this release, or just the mod. I can't remember for sure, but regardless, it is something worth mentioning. It is something worth mentioning. That's what I was trying to get at. Also, random key card out of nowhere. ID check. You gotta love invisible walls. Am I right? Alright, next stage. Welcome to Speed Highway. One of the most iconic stages in Sonic history. It was so iconic that it was brought back in Sonic Generations. I will say this, Speed Highway itself really is a fun stage, and definitely one of the best 3D Sonic stages there is. Also, this wall here is incredibly funky, and that's the reason. Sometimes the physics on the wall allows you to gravitate on it without too much of an issue. Other times it just throws you off for no reason. Like I said, physics in this game are completely jank. Mods or no mods, it's broken. By the way, be careful when dropping down because that helicopter blade, that can hurt you. And let me tell you, it sucks when you get hit by the thing. Ah, couldn't quite get the extra life. Wow, I can't believe that worked. Whatever. Now comes the most fun part. So for this section, this is basically an auto runner. You automatically run through this entire section with ease. It's pretty simple to maintain control of your momentum as well as just your sense of speed. All you have to do is just move left and right and you'll be fine. And that section's already done. Time to finish this up. What's really fun about this section is that there are several different ways you can tackle this final section of the level. You can take to the streets, or if you want to, you can race through the rooftops. It's entirely up to you how you want to approach this section, and that's what makes this level so much fun to play through again and again. All done.
Yes.
And that's Speed Highway.
Yeah. Not
Very
bad.
quick stage, but also one of the best ones in the game. Trust me, it is. Still has been a while since we've last seen Tails. I hope he's doing alright. I mean, knowing him, he'll bounce back. No problem. Everything's fine.
We have to find Amy. She should still be in this city.
If you say so, Tikal. If you say so.
Amy? Oh man, where can she be?
Ah! Sonic! Help!
I'll cut him off at the Mystic Ruins.
Here's a better idea. Why don't you shoot yourself to the moon with a spin dash jump? That'd be awesome. Okay, I'll stop now.
Let me go, you hunk of junk! I mean it!
Hey there, Bolt Brain. You better give Amy to me or I'll squash ya.
Bold choice of words, Sonic. Oh my.
What's happening here?
Who turned out all the lights? Oh great, it's a low poly egg carrier. Sonic?
Stop!
Why not jump in there with her, you dum-dum? God! Jump in the tractor beam, you dumbass! Seriously. Why does he just stand there and do absolutely nothing? It just boggles my mind. I mean, you've seen it showcased before. You know how it works. Why not do it yourself? Unless it's, the tractor beam only attracts via magnetism. In that case, then it probably wouldn't work out, but even so, couldn't he technically grab on to the freaking robot or something? like, grab onto him? I don't get it.
This is the ancient light. Try the light speed dash toward the enemy. With this, you can now do the light speed attack.
Ooh, pretty sweet. So it's kind of a free upgrade to the Lightspeed Dash. Speaking of the Lightspeed Dash, the default Lightspeed Dash has a very long charge time. I believe about 5-6 seconds it takes. But once you grab the crystal ring, the Lightspeed Dash is then the time it takes to charge it is reduced significantly to, I believe, 3 seconds. Maybe around 2 seconds. I don't know. Regardless, let's head into Red Mountain. Well, it's definitely red, alright. Okay. Game, seriously, what is up with your weird physics? You're weird. So, with Red Mountain, it too is a pretty fun stage to just speed run through. There are so many ways you can climb this mountain, it's not even funny. And most paths basically lead you the same way, but obviously some paths are faster than others. Just saying. So overall, this particular stage really isn't too bad. It's a very fun stage. It can be kind of stressful at times, but really it's not that bad. But it too does have multiple sections. And believe it or not, this section is only the first of 2. Also, let's sequence break. Come on. Whee! Down we go. I love sequence breaking so much. You're supposed to use the handlebars and navigate across the mountain that way, but where's the fun in that? When you could just spin dash jump all the way across the gap with little to no issues whatsoever. Anyway, this section is more so the same, if anything. But for the most part, it really is basically the same, just avoid the lava. Otherwise, we're going to Shrek's Swamp. And we've already had enough swamp it. Blech! I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. By the way, there is still technically a scoring system in this game, but really, score is not that important. It really isn't in this particular game. Not even for later on in future missions. Just saying. By the way, more sequence breaking. You're supposed to use the Lightspeed Dash in order to get across that gap, but really, you don't need it. Spin Dash Jump is OP! And there we go, stage complete.
Yes.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, not bad.
Still no closer to the egg carrier. Well, this is definitely odd, and quite a pickle. Hey! Look who it is!
Hey, Sonic!
Hey, Tails!
Tails, I'm glad you're okay.
Love the enthusiasm, Sonic. Roger, Dodger. Alright, onward to Sky Chase Act 2. Just like with the first sub-game or the first Sky Chase, the controls are the exact same. However, the score requirement is much higher this time. Instead of 8,000 for the first game, we have to score 20,000 points. Which, like I said, getting the high score is a lot easier said than done. But honestly, I find it far easier to get that score here versus Sky Chase Act 1. And the reason why is because of two reasons. First off, you have way more enemies to work with, so there's a little more room for error, versus the first game where you practically have no room for error. And this one is way longer. By the way, regardless of which version of Sonic Adventure you play, the Tornado 2 health bar is mislabeled as the Tornado. Why that is, I don't know. But with BetterSADX, it actually enables a quote-unquote cheat code, which really isn't much of a cheat at all. It's more of a cosmetic thing, where all it does is that it changes the health bar during Sky Chase Act 2 from the Tornado to Tornado 2. Because that's technically what this plane is called, the Tornado 2.
So far, so good.
Yeah,
You know what you're doing.
I do know quite a bit of this game.
Watch this. Transforming now.
Whoa!
Let's do it.
Onward! Funny enough, this transformation of the Tornado 2 eventually made its way into the Tornado 1. Oh yeah, now I remember the other thing that I was going to mention earlier with the whole Robotnik Land thing. That actually came into fruition in Sonic Unleashed with Eggman Land. Just saying. It was definitely a fun time. Just a bit of foreshadowing there, am I right? Although Eggman Land was built elsewhere over a freaking temple of ancient unknown power instead of over a city, if you know what I mean. Also, what the hell hit me there? I don't know. Oh, it must have been the exhaust. Well, damn. I'm about to die. Well, one thing's for sure, I believe there's a checkpoint system in this minigame. Well, damn. No kidding! Alright, well, so much for there being a checkpoint system. Damn it. Ah, damn. That stinks. Funny enough, I've never gotten shot down in this minigame before, probably because I'm a lot more reckless now, since I know that I have to get a high score in order to get the other emblem that's associated with this minigame. Obviously, the first emblem is just simply surviving and getting to the end of the minigame no problem. The second emblem is the high score one, which, let me tell you, getting a high score is not easy in this minigame. Honestly, I find it way harder to get the high score for Sky Chase Act 1 versus Act 2, like I've mentioned earlier. Also, we're going to have more quality voice acting time in just a few moments. By the way, there is no perfect bonus at all. Hell, there's no bonus of any kind at all in these sub-games. So far, so good.
Oh, you know what you're doing.
You bet. Watch this. Transforming now.
Alright, let's try this again.
Let's do it.
Hopefully we won't get shot down this time, like a freaking idiot. funny enough, it is pretty easy to just play through this minigame without too much of a problem. It's just, again, don't be reckless like I was. Otherwise, you're going to die. And like I mentioned before, it is possible to die. It's not a fun time. Because it means you have to start the entire minigame all over again. Also, ow. Ow. Oof. Why am I getting shot every 2 seconds? Granted, I know I'm invading the egg carrier and invading its airspace. Wow. Did I manage to get the high score here? I don't think I did, honestly. So at the end of the section, we will have to fight the actual egg carrier cannon itself. And also try not to get shot down. Which is a lot easier said than done. By the way, it's pretty easy to dodge the cannon fire. The only thing that can really kill you in this section is just not only the cannon itself, but obviously the mines that are shot out. Also, I know I could just finish off the cannon now and just go rapid fire, but I kind of wanted to see if I can get some additional score, but it doesn't look like that's happening. That stinks. Well, like I said, we will get another chance to play this minigame again later. And anyway, yes, that I did. 14,540. Ow. Not a very good score. Yeah, I didn't get the high score one. That stinks. Well, like I said, we will have another chance later.
We gotta land on the egg carrier.
Whoops. I forgot something.
What's that?
There's no landing gear in this mode.
What?
Really? Damn, Tails. Talk about a major design flaw. I guess it makes sense if he was rushing to get this thing out.
This thing is really huge.
No time to gawk now. We need to find Amy.
You're right, my friend. So here we go.
I love the way he says, "Here we go," like he's trying to impersonate a certain Italian plumber.
Don't get too many ideas, you fools. You haven't seen the power this vessel really has. Get a load of this.
Oh, wow! It's changed shape. Did you see that?
And Sonic's like, really?
This makes it harder for us to get to the bridge.
I hate it when he doesn't listen.
I bet you weren't expecting this. The only way you can get to me is through the sky deck. Find out if you can figure this one out.
Oh yeah? Well, I'll show you. Bring it on.
Yeah, Bumble Tank, be careful with the
This
caps.
must be the way to the sky deck.
Be careful with the caps, because if you input too many at once, Nightbot will ban you for that. Well, not really ban, more like give you a timeout for a few seconds. Also, on to the next stage, welcome to Sky Deck. For whatever reason, Sonic has to stop and say, "So this must be the way to the Sky Deck." No, really? I thought it was going to Uranus! Alright. So Sky Deck consists of multiple sections. At least for Sonic's variant of this stage, anyway. Navigating through the stage really isn't too bad. And just like several other stages in the game, there are multiple ways you can tackle the stage, which is pretty nuts. I know you're supposed to wait until you grab those hooks or whatever in order to traverse your way across, but again, spin jump. Spin dash jumping is OP. Dead, damn it. God damn it, Tails. Get out of my way. I love you, man, but come on. So, one more thing worth noting is that if you do happen to die while in the middle of a stage and you activate a capsule, that capsule remains deactivated, or, yeah, it remains activated. So you can't just hit it again unless you restart the entire stage. So yeah, like I said, be careful with the caps. The reason why I have Nightbot like that is just in case someone would go on some sort of tirade or something. Again, better to be prepared for something like that versus not having something like that in place until after it happens. Just saying. Come on, really? Screw this game sometimes. Alright, on to the next section. This is also where one of the unused voice clips comes into play. As you heard, it was a bit of a odd voice clip, which, like I mentioned before, was excluded in all future releases of Sonic Adventure DX. Also, screw you, game. Screw you with your physics. Whatever, no big deal. At least we were able to get back to where we were, like at the very start of the section, rather than redoing the entire stage again. Oh dear. So the gimmick of this section is there's a lot of strong winds and the ship is constantly changing altitude. Constantly going up and down and all around. Physics! Damn it. I knew it. For whatever reason, the damn, what the devil? I'm dead. I'm so freaking dead. Okay, never mind. Phew. That was close. Come on. Thanks, Tails. You're the best. Whew. That was a pretty hairy section. Speaking of which, this final section really isn't too bad, and it's also really easy to sequence break, as you can see here. You're supposed to take a really long, convoluted route in order to get to where you need to go. But again, spin jumping. Spin dash jump is OP. Also, I wanted to try to get to the end of the stage by means of breaking it into a million pieces, but it looks like I'm going to have to do this the normal way. Sonic, come on. Stop being broken and start working. Oh dear. You gotta love the game being broken sometimes. Also, JT Shadow... whoa. Physics. You're being weird again. Stop it. The egg carrier's physics here are just so damn janky. Also, you can just jump down, no problem. Just keep in mind, it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of reorienting yourself in order to be able to get through.
Yeah, not bad.
Alright.
Is that it?
It might be, but let's check out the bridge.
Kind of weird that there's no security in place for a place like this. By the way, there's this door here. Just input the code Eggman. So Eggman officially adopted the name. Hilarious. Even before the insult was made. By the way, this does not take us to where we need to go. Instead, it takes us to the Chao Garden. In this game, there are 3 Chao Gardens. There's one in the Egg Carrier, one in the Mystic Ruins, and one in Station Square. Each of the 3 hub areas has 1 Chao Garden each. Of course, I won't be doing much in the Chao Garden for the time being. Not until later, after we complete all the stories and finish the emblem grinding, for the most part. Do not enter. Okay, makes sense. So, anyway, in order to get to the bridge, it's pretty easy. Just hop on the elevator. And I wonder how the hell this Sonic is not puking up his guts right now.
Too late!
Not the birdie! A Chaos Emerald! No way!
Be gone, all of you! This is all I really need! Gather!
What is your wish, Master Robotnik?
Get rid of these pests! Show them what you've got!
Aye, aye, sir.
And don't disappoint me, or else...
Okay, time to fight Gamma. And bye. Bye, Gamma. Ah! Like I said, these character fights are a complete utter joke. They do have attack patterns, don't get me wrong, but really, you don't get to see them because you can kill them so damn fast.
Step aside, Amy! Out of my way!
No! This robot is my friend! He helped me! Don't hurt him!
Like I haven't already done so just a few minutes ago.
Whatever you say. You must have your reasons.
Uh-oh.
Hey, the ship is losing altitude!
Hurry, Tails! Take Amy and get out of here!
Well, what about you?
I'll find that Eggman and put him out of commission.
Oh my. Well, that's definitely something. Anywho, welcome to the bridge.
If I'm to continue, I need to change this ship back to its original shape. There must be a switch somewhere on the bridge. I've got to find it now.
No, really? I thought we were going to leave the ship exactly the way it is. By the way, there are a couple of other rooms here you could technically explore, but obviously we can't do that right now. We have to wait.
Ready, go!
Dang it!
Ready, go!
If you turn this switch on, wings will appear on the floor.
Shut it.
Ready, go!
There we go. Much better. And done. By the way,
Emergency alert has been cancelled. Resuming monorail operation.
Are you sure about that? Because it looks as though the ship is about to explode. Anyway, like I was saying, it is possible to flip this ship back to its combat form, I guess. Just by hitting the switch again. Also, if you try to leave, I believe you can, but you won't be getting very far. So obviously, after you hit the switch, don't hit it again and you'll be fine. I just felt like showing it off while I could. Anyway, that was the bridge. Eggman, what are you still doing here? And it looks like someone else is here too. Looks like it's Chaos. Oh man, now he looks like a giant fat scorpion.
Oh no!
Where,
Not again!
where's my golden net?
Chaos! Could this be the same beast?
Oh yes! Attack Sonic now!
Froggy? I must say Froggy!
If he's your friend, I'll help you. Just leave it to me.
Now I have 6 of the Chaos Emeralds. There's only one more left to find. I even found Chaos's missing tail.
You won't get away with this, you madman!
I will. You're no match for Chaos, even though he's not perfected yet. Okay, Chaos. Destroy them all immediately.
Alright, time to fight Chaos 6. The 6th iteration of Chaos himself. By the way, any rings that you pick up on the field, you could technically use them for this boss fight, but if you do end up kicking the bucket during the fight and you respawn, you will respawn with no rings. So anyway, this fight really is not that hard. Just hit one of these mechanisms. I'm not really sure what to call these things, but they kind of look like freezer bombs. Oh wow, I didn't know I could do that. That's neat. I'm not really sure what to call those freezer things. They kind of look like bombs. You just have to do a homing attack and pick them up. Afterwards, throw them into Chaos. So long as it hits him, it should count. Of course, there are limited exceptions. Even if Chaos runs into it himself, it'll still count as a hit. Well, that was easy. Chaos is supposed to have one more attack, but because I defeated him so fast, he didn't show it off, and it involves him transforming and using his missing tail to attack you with. Other than that, it's really nothing else.
No way! I can't believe this!
Sonic! Hey there, Knuckles. Glad you finally made it. I thought you got lost or something.
Nice.
Until we meet again, Sonic!
Stop! Come back here!
Funny how he just willingly jumps off of the ship, especially when it's moving at a very high speed. You sure this isn't going to hurt? What am I talking about? It's Sonic. He's fine. He's been through worse.
I hate Eggman. Where's this?
Ooh, a mysterious temple. Hello. We meet again to call.
That light. I think it's trying to show me something.
And after that brief encounter, we can now play as Big the Freaking Cat. Yeah, that is what he is, a cat. And no, he does not have a companion named Karen who yells at him on a consistent basis. Although they might as well have, because he's hated that much. Funny enough, he's oh so hated. He's hated so much he's considered a punching bag in the Sonic community. Anyway, welcome to Lost World. Not to be confused with the Lost World, aka Sonic Lost World. This is a different Lost World. And it's not Jurassic Park either. Although, if we're fighting a dinosaur here, that'd be pretty sweet. Nah. Although, if we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog here, I wouldn't put it past it. It's kind of weird. Anyway, this level is a pretty long and difficult one. And just like with some of the other levels, this takes multiple sections. It has multiple sections as well, as trying to say here. By the way, the gimmick of this first section is to ride this stone snake that's surrounding the center of the ruins. This snake is kind of janky with the way it moves and the way you stand on it. So, even if you're standing perfectly still and ride it the entire way through, it's still possible to completely fall on your ass. So that is something worth mentioning. You may be wondering, what is the point of riding this thing exactly? Well, I'll tell you. I'll gladly tell you, right after these messages. Kidding. The point of riding it is to ride it around the entire room until you're able to reach all 3 switches that are in this room. And you're supposed to raise the water level enough so that you can ride the snake and reach the switches. But again, with proper platforming, i.e. the spin dash jump, seriously, it's broken. Use it, abuse it, treasure it, love it. Anyway, once you hit all 3 switches, the switches will trigger a door to open in the very back of this area. And I do believe you do have to raise the water level up to the very top in order to even get to this area. Now, this next section is a fun one. As you can see, the place is quite dark, so we need to use the reflective lights of these mirrors here in order to light the way. Of course, if you fully memorize the layout of this entire stage, you could also run around in the dark as well. And it's not like the darkness is really anything to fear, because, let's be real here, you do have a fair chance, or fairly good light source emanating from yourself, without too much of a problem. Ooh. Okay, this is going to be kind of tricky. The Lightspeed Dash and the Lightning Shield, or Thunder Shield, they don't really mix too well together. Because of the fact that the Thunder Shield attracts rings that are nearby, it can also screw you over when you need to perform a Lightspeed Dash to cross a gap. Of course, you could also break the game and spin dash jump across if you need to. Although I believe there are some sections in which you can't do that. Also, there's this one section. Whoop! I just broke the game. Yay. So, you're supposed to run from that boulder, but if you trigger it early and run backwards fast enough, you can get underneath of the boulder and not even worry about it whatsoever. Afterwards, it's just a smooth run. I say that as I am run into it like a freaking idiot. And whatever, no big deal. I guess I could show it off a little bit normally. By the way, it is possible to jump out of a damaged animation state by hitting the A button fast enough. Of course, you still have a bit of a delay. Okay, time for the most fun part of this level. As you can see, the main gimmick of this is there are gravity-defying tiles here. If you see them lit up like this, that means you can defy gravity and walk on the wall. God damn it. Of course, when there's physics like this, it's bound to be broken beyond comprehension. And just like that, we're already up at the very top of this area. Quite fun. Totally would recommend. Otherwise, it's just a very, very slow and difficult climb throughout the entirety of these ruins. Plus, it also got rid of my lightning shield, which was needed in order to cross to this area here. And bada bing, bada boom. Stage is done.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad at all. I wonder what this place is all about.
Whoa, what's this? A mural.
Wow, it's a giant dragon. It looks like Shinron from Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball in general, except not. It's Sonic's version of Shinron. And there's more to this story. Where the hell are we?
What's this place?
And why is
Where am
everything
I?
on fire?
This is really weird.
Well, it's definitely worth exploring a little bit, but there's not really a whole lot here to see. You do have to proceed onward to the Burning Shrine in order to progress. Damn. Looks like some sort of war broke out. There are corpses everywhere. It's quite disturbing.
Why did this have to happen?
Good question.
It's terrible. I must stop this now.
Well, that's quite a conundrum, but we'll cross that road once again when we get to it at a later point in time.
What was that all about? I don't think I'm dreaming here.
It's Eggman.
Eggman!
Time to kick his ass to the curb once
What's
and
he
for
doing
all.
here? Well, never mind. This time I'll get him good.
Okay. By the way, if you try to approach this area beforehand, I don't think this entire establishment will even be here. Then again, it probably would be, but you would not be able to access it. So, this is Eggman's second base, and it's also home to the last action stage for Sonic. So, yep. Hello, gamer boys. Welcome to the stream. Glad you can make it. Anyway, to access this stage, we do have to input a code combination, which really isn't too hard. It does take a little bit of brain power in order to figure this out. You basically have to light all the panels, and also, hello gamer boys. Thank you so much for the follow, man. Highly appreciate it. I hope you enjoy your stay here. Okay. Boop. By the way, once you activate it, it is possible... Thank you for the support regardless. I appreciate it. Like I was trying to say, it is possible to accidentally deactivate the entrance to this thing. So, as soon as you activate it, head inside. Welcome to the final stage, Final Egg. I'm serious, this is the final stage for Sonic's story. Like I said before, Sonic has the longest campaign in the entire game. He has the longest campaign because he has the most number of stages. There's a lot that goes on in his story. Final Egg is definitely the longest and most difficult stage in the entire game. At least Sonic's variant is. Guess I'm going down. Never took this path before, as I always somehow managed to make it through the top without too much of a problem. Not here, though. Okay, apparently, if you do fall down, you do have to make your way back up to the top. Of course, it would be faster just to die and respawn at the checkpoint, but if you don't have lives to spare, then obviously it won't work out too well. Okay, next section, let's go. This section is actually quite a bit challenging. As you can see, there are several deadly chasms. Drop down and you will go dead. You'll be dead. You'd be one dead hedgehog. Not a fun time, let me tell you. You do have to follow this all the way down like you're supposed to. As far as I know, there might be a way you could go out of bounds and just drop to the lower section without triggering the death barrier, but you do have to follow this all the way through. You do have to follow this all the way through as far as I know. There's no sequence breaking that I know of here. And let me tell you, it is quite a ways to get through. I was not expecting that, but whatever works. Here we go. Okay, here we go. I believe this section is the final section that you have to worry about in this entire level. This final section features a lot of reproducing explosive robots that will try to go Allahu Akbar on impact. Oh, screw you, game, and your stupid camera. Seriously, I hate that. Whatever, I probably went through this way too fast anyway, so no big deal. Oh, come on. I wanted those goodies up there. Alright, let's slow down a little. There we go. That was random, but I'll take it. By the way, if you continuously attack those robots, they won't do much of anything other than explode in your face. So be careful. Okay. By the way, that last area that I went through actually has two different paths you can take. It depends solely on the timing of your jump. There we go. That works. I win. That was kind of sketchy, not gonna lie.
Yeah, not bad.
But anywho, we made it through, no problem. Hello,
Well,
Eggman.
if it isn't my pal Sonic. I'm surprised you made it this far.
You gotta love PS1 Poly Eggman here. That's kind of funny and hilarious at the same time.
Hold it right there, Eggman.
Alright, folks, here we go. Time to fight the final boss of Sonic's story. Welcome to the Egg Viper. This one is one hell of a fight.
Get a load of this. Get a load of this.
I could also turn this into a drinking game. Every time he says
This.
that, get a load of this. Take a drink. Wahaha! See if you can get through here, Sonic. That's what he's supposed to say. By the way, you can just obviously interrupt that dialogue by hitting him early if you wish. Also, Eggman is only vulnerable during certain periods of time, so that moment is here.
See if you can make it through.
I figure I'd try the YOLO strat. Well, you know, it worked. Anyway, dodging the lasers for this attack really isn't that hard. Also, rings here are in a very limited supply, so try to resist picking up rings and try to hold on to at least one.
See if you can make it through here, Sonic.
There we go.
Get a load of this.
That is how you're supposed to reach him normally, without the spin dash jump. Just attack the different pieces of the Egg Viper and you're set. Also, around this point, Eggman is going to be unleashing some new attacks. Obviously, the Laser Barrage is one of them.
See if you can make it through here, Sonic.
By the way, I believe if you don't make it through there fast enough, then Eggman will fire like some sort of laser projectile at you, and it'll be quite painful, let me tell you. Although I never quite experienced that pain because I never let him do something like that, but hey, just saying.
It's no way. I can't.
I think he was trying to say, it's no use, give up.
All systems. Full.
By the way, that spinning top attack is another new attack he has up his arsenal. And at this point now, he's going all Desperado.
It's no use. Give up.
Since he's going all Desperado, he is going to be destroying more and more pieces of the arena.
It's no use. Give up.
Kind of counterintuitive, don't you think? Okay, battle's pretty much done here. However, there is still one last trick he has up his sleeve.
Watch out. He's up to something.
And he's down. If you get hit by that, I believe it's a one-hit kill. He'll throw you off of the arena. In which case, you do have to restart the entire battle all over again. So that is something worth mentioning. But, there we go. All done. Sonic's story is complete. Thanks, Blaze Troop. Hey, Tails. Glad to see that you're okay. Again. Oh, I see. Well, you're just in time for the ending of Sonic's story. Whew. There we go. That's the end of Sonic's story, and we're just getting started. We still have several other characters to get through, and for every story you complete, you will get an emblem for completing that character's story.
Sega!
And of course, we will be booted back to the title screen afterwards, but it is what it is. And I also wanted to keep quiet, so that way we can listen to that awesome song known as It Doesn't Matter. Funny enough, it did return in Sonic Adventure 2, and it's an entirely different song. So how I feel about It Doesn't Matter and which version I like best, I like both. I like both equally as much as one another. That is for sure. And that's for that song in particular. Some other ones that make an appearance in this game that also made an appearance in Sonic Adventure 2, we'll discuss those as we come across them. Since we're 2 hours and 16 minutes into this session, why don't we go ahead and start up another story, because why not, right? Might as well try to clear at least 2 stories this session, and thankfully, like I said before, all the other characters' stories will not take anywhere near as long as Sonic's. All other ones are pretty damn short in comparison, so with that in mind, let's begin Tails' journey. And unlike Sonic, Tails' gameplay gimmick is quite different. Who has the shortest story? That I'm not 100% sure. It's either between Amy or Big the Cat. I'm pretty sure it's Amy who has the shortest story, but Tails' story is also pretty damn short. Probably the third shortest, then Knuckles' story, and then finally E102 Omega. I mean, Gamma. Omega is an entirely different character who appears in a future Sonic game. Don't mind me, I'm going crazy. Let's begin.
Here I come, Sonic! Everything's working great! All systems go, full speed ahead. Uh-oh, what's this?
Lack of mouth movement, that's what it is. Uh-oh, what is? No, stop.
I'm out of control! Mayday! Mayday! Going down! Ah! Look out below!
Hey, Sonic. Good to see you again.
Boy, you're lucky I saw you come down. So what went wrong anyway? It's not like you to crash like that.
Yeah, it's just that I'm testing a new prototype power supply, and it's not fully compatible yet.
You can always borrow my plane, the Tornado, if you want.
Thanks, Sonic. But if I can make this work, it'll run circles around yours. Check out this power supply!
It's a Chaos Emerald! No way!
I was lucky to find one of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. They have unlimited mystic powers. Now I want to harness that power to fly my plane. Let's go to my workshop in the Mystic Ruins, and I'll show you what I've been working on. We'll go to the station, hop on a train, and get there in no time.
Sounds fun. Let's go. So anyway, Tails' story is basically an abridged version of Sonic's story, as far as the story-wise goes. But before we head off to the Mystic Ruins, there is an upgrade we can technically pick up for Tails now. And this upgrade is considered optional, but you kind of want to get it, especially for future missions.
Look, it's your jet anklet. Its jet power makes you fly faster.
If it's really his jet anklet, why is it here of all places? Did it fall out of the tornado prototype? Or what? I mean, there's no roof to signify that that is the case, but I don't get it. It's weird. The logic in this game makes no sense.
The train headed for the Mystic Ruins will be departing soon.
Also, this particular story is where you're supposed to grab that emblem there that I picked up earlier. Also, fun fact, if you're playing vanilla SADX, the texture on that train, instead of it being red, is blue. And more of a blandish blue, not this dynamic red kind of etching as seen there. Just saying.
Well. If it isn't Sonic and Tails.
It's Eggman!
Pilot! I am Dr. Robotnik, the most cunning scientific genius in the world!
Yeah, right, Dr. Eggman.
Enough! I've been working on a master plan, but now it's time to put it to work!
That usually means trouble coming from you.
Don't even try to interfere this time. Give me that Chaos Emerald, or else...
Or else what, huh?
Or else I'll take it from you the hard way.
Here we go again. Excuse me. So one thing worth noting is that even though all the characters essentially experience the same sort of story, it is told in a slightly different way. So for example, Sonic's story and Eggman's interactions, well, they weren't really all that intimidating. But Tails' interaction with Dr. Eggman is a lot more sinister and serious. So why this is? There's actually a couple of theories out there. The first theory is that Tails wants it to make it look like he's like the cool dude, you know what I mean? Trying to follow in Sonic's footsteps, which makes sense. But the other theory is that Eggman is not used to being defeated by someone other than Sonic, so when he's defeated by someone else, like Tails for example, he gets super pissed. And can you really blame the guy? He just got his ass kicked by a minor character. Also, the Fast Egg Hornet strat from before with Sonic's story does not work here. I'm just saying. It's kind of unfortunate, but it is the way it is.
That was just too easy.
Again, where'd you get that from? Why'd you pull it out?
Hey, he snagged it.
Then go grab it, you jerk! Seriously, don't just stand there and take it like a man. Charge!
Chaos could use a little snap.
Who's Chaos?
There he is.
That's the monster I saw the other day.
Monster?
Also, that emerald clearly missed him.
Yes, it's really happening. Just as the stone tablet said it would. Hear this, Sonic. Chaos' strength increases every time I give him a Chaos Emerald. All he needs is 7 emeralds to become invincible. Then he will turn Station Square into rubble, upon which I will build the ultimate city, Robotnik Land. You ready, Chaos? Let's go find the next one. Come on.
Like I mentioned earlier, Robotnik Land actually did come to fruition. Just not in this game.
Thank goodness they're gone. Good riddance.
We can't let that monster get any bigger. It could get ugly.
Oh,
You're
believe me.
right. Chaos must be stopped. And he can be if we keep him away from more emeralds, right? So what do you say, Sonic? Let's find the Chaos Emeralds before Eggman does.
Like I said, I believe in this story, Tails is supposed to look like the cool dude, trying to be impressive in front of Sonic, who is technically his best friend. I mean, they've been best friends since Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but hey, I'm just saying. Huh. Well, that's peculiar. Well, that stinks. I was not expecting that. Well, one thing I could do here is, since I accidentally threw the stone into an area where that is completely inaccessible, if you find yourself in a situation where you accidentally quote-unquote soft-lock yourself, what you can do is just simply load another area and head back into the previous area. What this will do is that it will just simply reset the key collectible back to its default position. At least I hope it does. Which it does. Good. Alrighty then. Glad that's taken care of. Now, let's not be an idiot and throw it, or just yeet it. There we go. Much better. Alright, time for Tails' first stage, which is, believe it or not, Windy Valley. Unlike Sonic's version of Windy Valley, Tails' version is you immediately start in the second section. And the gameplay style for this changes drastically. So how this, or any and all of Tails' stages work, is that it's a race. It's a race to either the Emerald or to something else in question. And Sonic's, or whoever you're racing, their AI works on a rubber banding AI system. The further you get ahead, they'll immediately teleport to your vicinity. And it's literally as simple as that. That's Windy Valley, completed in like less than a minute. Because Tails is just... Because of the fact Tails can fly, he just completely breaks Windy Valley into a million pieces. You can literally just descend to the Emerald. It's that freaking easy. But just like with older Sonic titles, despite the fact that Tails can fly, technically, he does have a limited flight duration. So, that is something worth mentioning. Also, since Tails cannot use the Lightspeed Dash at all, you have to fly and hit this thing manually. Why couldn't he do this during Sonic's story, and he has to use some weird gimmick? I will never know. So here is this other... Dang it. Here's death. As I was trying to say, here's this other section that I didn't show off during Sonic's story. This section is where you would go if you don't collect enough rings during the pinball games. If you don't collect 100 rings during those minigames, then you are dumped here. But in this section, you can find a truckload of rings, which is pretty insane. And you can get quite a large number of rings within this one section alone, within a very short time frame. Also, for whatever reason, the Emerald is actually placed in this sewer section as opposed to it being a prize in Casinopolis normally. Why that is, I will never know. But regardless, the AI that rubber bands here, it does not work properly in this stage whatsoever. So therefore, you could basically leave Sonic in the dust and he'll be stuck for quite a long time.
That wasn't too bad.
So, there we go. Stage complete. It's literally that easy. Hi, Eggman.
What's that?
I don't know. Uranus?
Chaos Emerald!
Get away from there!
Ah!
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Nighty-night!
Eggman!
Oh, you bastard.
What happened to the Chaos Emerald?
Eggman got one of them, but the other one's safe. He must be getting desperate.
Now the emerald count is 2-1 and Eggman's winning. Let's get a move on.
Of course. We'll be sure to do that. Also, I believe there was supposed to be a cutscene that initiates here, if you're playing as Sonic or Tails, where Cream the Rabbit essentially drops off this ice stone. But for whatever reason, I think with this mod, it removes Cream the Rabbit. I guess because it was found to be unnecessary, which I guess makes sense. Technically speaking, we don't really know Cream the Rabbit, and we didn't really get to know her until Sonic Advance 2. But technically speaking, Cream the Rabbit did make her first appearance here. Albeit she only did one thing, and that is just to drop off this ice stone and just fly off into the sunset. That was it. I think she's supposed to make an appearance in both Sonic and Tails' story to drop off the ice stone. That's it. Again, I don't know if the mod has something to do with her removal or what. But I figured I'd let you know she is technically there.
See you later, Tails.
So, Tails' version of the Ice Cap Zone is...
You made it.
Instead of it taking place in multiple sections, we just have the snowboarding section. Yay, this is fun.
Come on.
There's not a whole lot that you really need to worry about when it comes to snowboarding in this area. Also, the snowboard is the same no matter what for Tails specifically, which is pretty nuts. So unlike the previous stage, Windy Valley, which we broke into a million pieces with Tails being able to fly and everything, this one you do have to play this legit. And the rubber banding AI here, it does work the same as it did in the previous stage, but, or not the previous stage, but more like the one before it. Just saying, it's also pretty aggressive. Even if you stood still, it's not like Sonic is going to get super far ahead all that much, giving you way more than enough time to catch back up to him within a very quick time frame. Just saying. If he gets ahead of you, it's really not a big deal whatsoever. And that's really about it. Of course, we still need to reach the Emerald before Sonic does, which I believe if Sonic does reach the Emerald or the objective before Tails does... Whoa, hi. That was odd. As I was saying, I think if Sonic or whoever reaches your opponent reaches the goal first, you are automatically kicked out of the stage and you must restart it. And it counts as like a mission failed of sorts. You don't lose a life, you just have to re-enter the stage and try again. And that's all there is to it. Nothing more, nothing less. Also, some of the character battles whom Sonic fought, with i.e. Knuckles and Gamma, Tails is the one who's going to be taking up the Fist of Fury. Trust me, it's going to be fun.
Hey, Knuckles! What's up?
Dead!
What are you doing, Knuckles?
Don't mess with me now. Just hand over the emeralds you have. Quick!
Alright, see you later, Blaze Troopa.
No way, Knuckles!
Alright.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh no.
Whoa!
Acting.
Oh no, the emeralds!
And they're all mine.
Eggman's back! He's got the emeralds!
No, really?
Fumbling idiot. You know that.
Funny enough, he's not wrong.
Hey, those are the Chaos Emeralds.
You are so easily tricked. All I did was wait for you to bring it to me.
What the heck is he talking about anyway?
Don't you realize when you've been tricked?
Tricked? No one makes a fool out of me.
Way to go, knucklehead!
4! Count 'em! 4 emeralds. I summon chaos! Come forth! Here, eat up.
Oh no! It's changing again! We gotta stop this fast!
No, really? I thought we were going to leave it there, let it do its wonderful fishy thing, because it's a fish. Kidding. Anyway, time to fight Chaos 4. This time with tails and the ability to fly like a freaking Sonic... I don't know. Fly like a freaking Banshee? This fight really isn't any different versus Sonic's story, just the only difference being, of course, being able to fly and just noping everything, pretty much. So how you're supposed to damage Chaos is you're supposed to just jump into the air in your ball form and hit him that way, or you can whack him with your tails. That works too. Just, it is kind of finicky with whacking him with the tails though, so you need to keep that in mind. However you choose to attack him is entirely up to you. Bye. Okay, he ain't dead yet, but he will be soon enough. By the way, in order to restore Tails' flight duration, all you have to do is just simply land. Once you land, you instantly get back your, you instantly are able to fly at your maximum height and distance again. So, there we go, no problem. I'm done. Behold the flying masterpiece, the Egg Carrier! Again.
Behold my floating masterpiece, the Egg Carrier! But it pales in comparison to the power of chaos. Adieu, until we meet again, my friends.
Aw,
Hey,
shit.
we can't let him get away!
Here we go again.
Let's get to my workshop and we'll take the tornado!
Yeah!
You guys go. I have some unfinished business to take care of.
No problem, Knuckles. We'll take care of everything here.
Come on! Let's get going!
Indeed. We need to get moving as of freaking yesterday. Anyway, now it's time to hop on the tornado and get shot down again.
Sonic, wait here for a second. Sonic, hop in.
No, I haven't.
Let's go.
I might check it out sometime, but I kind of want to check out RE2 first, if anything. Alright, time for another chance at Sky Chase. Let's go. So, since we technically completed this minigame before, there is still another emblem to collect. I almost said emerald. And like I said, the score that you need to get here is 8,000. And getting such a score here is one of the hardest things you can do in this game, in my honest opinion. And like I said, the high score for these Sky Chase minigames, they really suck. Funny enough, they were the last couple of emblems I needed to get. Or at least Sky Chase Act 1 was. Act 2, I got it done first try. But obviously not in this playthrough. Just saying. By the way, regardless of if you play this minigame in either Sonic or Tails' story, you can still technically get both emblems at once if your skills are good enough. Even if you completed a second time through as Tails, it doesn't matter. I can't see the freaking targeting cursor! God damn it. I can't see shit. Wow, I failed miserably in this. Oof. Didn't even see those things. Wow, I did even worse. How the hell do I do worse in this minigame than the previous attempt? Sweet Jesus, I suck.
We did it!
Oh, this is gonna be fun. Going after the... It's gonna be fun getting this emblem again. Along with Sky Chase Act 2, trust me. Whew. Oh boy. By the way, I believe this flashback is supposed to represent when Tails first met Sonic. Which I suppose it makes sense, I guess. I wonder if there's an official explanation out there. There probably is, in the form of comics. But I can't say for sure because I never really read any of the Sonic comics, ever. Just saying.
Wow, that dream brought back memories. I owe so much to Sonic. Sonic! Wonder where he went. Sure hope he's alright. The tornado's not powerful enough. If I'm gonna get that egg carrier, I need to finish my prototype. It needs a Chaos Emerald to work. Looks like I'd better find one fast.
Speaking of the tornado, in the Tornado 1 to be exact, I wonder how they managed to recover the Tornado 1 exactly. That is definitely a mystery. I'm sure they found it crashed down somewhere and they just managed to pick it up off the ground. It's possible. Regardless, anywho, say hello to the Mystic Ruins, Chao Garden, and say goodbye.
Trains are currently in service.
Alright. Well, that was definitely something. Hey, before we can move on to the next area, we do have to, or, no. We can't quite go back to Station Square yet. And technically speaking, we could also return to Ice Cap Zone, but it won't do much of anything at all, really. There is one more thing worth noting, and that is the sound effect of Tails taking flight. It is kind of different between the Dreamcast and Sonic Adventure DX. I don't know why this change was made, but this mod does bring back the original voice clip. I guess to make it sound better, and it's an improvement over the original. Also, there's an emblem up here, I believe? Or no? But there is one in here. Ooh, Sonic the Hedgehog was added to the list. What is this list exactly? It's actually a list of Game Gear games. Believe it or not, the GameCube version of Sonic Adventure DX is the only version of Sonic Adventure DX to feature the Game Gear games. No other version of Sonic Adventure DX has the Game Gear games at all, and they were removed for future re-releases. However, with BetterSADX, the fans brought those games back, and also brought back the functionality of earning those mini-games, or earning those games in general. So that is pretty insane if you think about it. Okay, so seriously, what the hell is the point of going over here? Oh, right. I think around this area is where we're supposed to stumble into our next major cutscene. Aha!
Wow! There's a Chaos Emerald! Hey! Wait up!
Get your ass back here! So, it looks like Froggy decided to have a little snack with that Chaos Emerald there. I wonder how he's not having indigestion right now. I mean, he is a frog, so I guess it's to be expected. Also, say hello to another sub-game, which is Sand Hill. This minigame can be played as either Sonic or Tails, but for the main story, you do play this as Tails. And just like with the other sub-games, there's two emblems you can get here. The first emblem is simply completing the course. The second is getting a high score. You increase your score by going through these posts, and going through as many as you can within a given time frame. You only have a limited time before the multiplier eventually vanishes. If the multiplier vanishes, there is very little hope of you getting the high score required, of getting the emblem here. It might still be possible if you lose the multiplier, but it's not very likely. We'll see if I get it, which I'm highly doubtful here, considering I've lost the multiplier like twice. Yep, didn't get the score. Damn it. I believe the required score is 10,000. Or it's like 8,000. I can't remember for sure.
Uh-oh. I thought I was in the desert. I wonder where I am.
Good question. Also, in a lot of different versions of Sonic Adventure DX... Oh, these are echidnas. Believe it or not, this is the same race as Knuckles. So, interesting. Anyway, as I was trying to say, in a lot of different versions of Sonic Adventure DX, there's this obnoxious drum beat that plays in an endless loop, and it really overthrows the game's volume, not being able to hear much of anything except the drums, again and again and again, which is annoying. Anywho, we need to grab this in order to continue.
You found the Rhythm Badge. To do continuous tail attacks, hold the action button down.
Neat. By the way, you do have to grab this upgrade in order to progress.
The servers are the 7 Chaos Emeralds. Hello there, friend. How are you?
Good.
What were you saying before?
Huh. It's something my grandmother taught me. I'm never to forget it. It goes like this. The servers are the 7 Chaos. Chaos is power, power enriched by the heart. The controller is the one that unifies the chaos. But I'm still not sure what it all means. But the number 7 is the same as the number of emeralds there are.
Emeralds?
Forgive me, but I don't think we've ever met before. I'm Tikal. And you are?
The name is Tails. Nice to meet you. Oh, wait. Damn. Hello?
Whoa!
Yikes!
Nice.
Where's the man?
Weird. Now where was I? Oh yeah, the Chaos Emerald. Perfect! This will get my Tornado 2 up and raring to go.
Alright. Well, we're already in the getting ready for Sky Chase Act 2. Kind of weird and kind of insane how we're already like at the towards the very end of Tails' adventure.
This new plane should work a lot better. I've ironed out most of the problems.
Most.
So, here it goes.
Are you
Do
sure?
your stuff.
Are you sure that plane is ready for flight?
Here I come.
Only one way to find out.
Tornado 2, clear for takeoff. Away we go.
Again, you gotta admit that's pretty cool how the Tornado 2 just takes off like that.
There you are, dead ahead, the egg carrier. There's Sonic. Sonic!
All right, Tails. Way to go. This plane's cool. Now, what do you say we nail those guys?
You got it. Hang on.
Okay. I seriously wonder, how is it that Sonic is able to just jump onto the Tornado 2 like that? Regardless, game logic, video game logic! I shouldn't question it, and yet I do anyway. Because it just doesn't make any freaking sense. Anyway, just like before, the score requirement for this Sky Chase Act 2 is 20,000. Hopefully this time I'll actually be able to achieve the high score, but so far it's not looking likely. Especially when you can't see the targeting cursor. But hey, at least the good news is, at least in this stage, due to the lighting, everything, you can actually see the targeting cursor. And the target cursor does have to lock onto the enemy in order to be able to fire a homing rocket. target, damn it! Wow, that sucked. I hate the targeting cursor so much sometimes, I swear to God. It just never wants to goddamn work. Most of the time, even if you're hovering above the enemy. I don't know why that is. It is super picky of whether or not it's going to lock on. It's like you have to be dead center on the target in order for it to lock on. Of course, shooting down all the enemies is technically optional if you're just looking to just simply play through the entire game. Or just speedrun it. But if you're going for all emblems, then yeah, you kinda need to be able to lock onto enemies. By the way, the more enemies you lock onto, the higher your score bonus will be. I believe there is a multiplier that you can apply for locking onto multiple enemies at once. If you would manage to lock onto 8 enemies or achieve max lock on with all... If you manage to achieve max lock on and destroy all enemies you locked onto, you'll achieve a really big bonus. Oh my god. I didn't even get 10,000 points in this entire freaking section. That is just sad. I suck at these so damn much. That's a shame. No other targets in the area, so time to destroy the egg carrier. All done. Wow, I think that's an even worse score than last time. That's awful. 66%. Ow. Just ouch. Man. That sucked. Encoder overloaded.
Tails, we gotta land on the egg carrier.
Oops! We got a problem here.
What now?
I forgot to put in the landing gear.
Whoa!
Oh dear.
Wow, this thing is really huge.
No time to gawk, Sonic. We gotta find Amy.
You're right, pal. Let's get busy.
Okay, question. How is it that Tails knows about Amy's kidnapping? Only Sonic should know about it.
Any idea, Sonic? You have no idea what this vessel can do. How about I give you a little sample?
Whoa! Hey, it transformed! Did you see that?
He's
Now,
like,
how are we
nah,
gonna get to
really?
the bridge?
I hate it when he doesn't listen to me.
I guess you weren't expecting that, were you? There's only one way to get to me, Sonic, and that's through the sky deck. I doubt if you can make it. Ha ha! I dare you!
Just watch me. Bring it on, Eggman.
And just like that, Sonic vanishes without a trace.
So, this must be the sky deck, huh?
Again, not sure why there's an unnecessary cutscene there, but it is what it is. So, Tails' version of Skydeck really is not much different versus Sonic's variation. Except, again, Tails' flying is broken as crap. And because of that, Tails really breaks this stage into a million freaking pieces. Even more so than Sonic ever will. Just saying. Also, Sky Deck for Tails, it's only comprised of the first section. No other section of the level is available for Tails' variation. Why? I have no clue. And even so, you just reach the end of the capsule and that's it. Very short stage.
That wasn't too bad.
53.63 seconds. Not my fastest completion time. Hell, the fastest, I have no idea what the world record is.
Is that it?
Sonic, we should check out the bridge.
Okay, let's go check out the bridge. Even though I am practically at the 3-hour mark, or 3 hours and 1 minute, I am going to finish up this story at the very least. So, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Sonic! Tails!
Ha! You're a bit late.
Not the birdie! That's a Chaos Emerald! No way!
Be gone, all of you. This is all I really need. Gamma?
What is your wish, Master?
Get rid of these pests. Give them all you got.
Aye, aye, Master Robotnik.
I'll leave it up to you, Gamma.
Bring it, Gamma. Gamma Babana. Also, another joke. Especially now. Resistance dead. Because of the fact that Tails can spin infinitely, it just makes quick work of Gamma.
Move aside, Amy! Get out of the way!
No! This robot is my friend. He helped me. Don't hurt him.
Cute.
Okay, if you say so, you have your reasons, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Hey, this ship is losing altitude!
Hurry, Tails! Take Amy and get out of here!
Well, what about you?
I'll find Eggman and put a stop to his evil ways.
If you say so. Not like he'll try this crap again next week. Okay, question. Couldn't you just take the tornado too? Although I think at this point it would be slower to do that, which, considering the situation, makes perfect sense. Also, you may have noticed that I believe BetterSADX modifies at least 2 separate FMVs in the game. And it's nothing really anything spectacular, it's just a slight modification to keep with continuity, which again makes sense. Oh my, there's Eggman again. I wonder what happened to Sonic? Well, bye, Amy.
That's Eggman! I wonder what happened to Sonic.
Quality voice acting!
I'm finished. Chaos was defeated, and now my egg carrier is ruined. No matter. I will destroy Station Square anyway.
Okay, question. Why didn't you just do this in the first place? Seriously, it's way easier, and you don't have to rely on some super powerful legendary god in order to do your dirty work.
If that missile is launched...
Ready? Fire!
Oh dear. Well, we're doomed. Okay. We're still alive. That's nice.
Oh, no, it was a dud. I can't believe this. Ah, I'll go and deal with this myself.
Oh no! I'd better get to that missile before he detonates it!
Could you sound any less interested, Tails?
I see it!
You see what?
I've gotta get it before Eggman! The fate of Station Square depends on me! Sonic! I've changed a lot since I started hanging with Sonic. But I can't depend on him forever. I know I can do this by myself. Okay, Eggman, bring it on!
I know, right? But that's what makes the voice acting in this game so cheesy, yet it also has its charm. So anyway, Speed Highway. Once again, this stage completely breaks with Tails' ability to fly. So, I never really quite explained how you can go about taking off to the skies. It's actually pretty simple. In fact, it's so easy, even a caveman can do it. Just double tap the A button, and Tails would immediately start taking flight. If you wish to accelerate your descent, all you have to do is just simply hold down the X button, or if you're playing on GameCube, the B button. I don't know how many people know about that, but it's possible to drop super fast by doing that. You may be thinking, why would you do something like that? Well, if there's a large vertical shaft in which you need to descend very quickly, you can use the X button, or, you know, in the case of the GameCube, the B button, to get down there incredibly quickly. Oh dear. I don't know how I salvaged that, but I'll take it. By the way, the speedrunning strat of this stage is just pure insanity. And here I am just showing the normal method. And there we go. Stage is done. The fastest completion I've ever seen of this is probably around 20 seconds, I think.
That wasn't too bad.
If not, probably around 25. Regardless, it's fast. Like, super fast.
Oh no, it's Robotnik! So you beat me to the missile, you little pest. I will make you all pay for this.
Question, why are we here in front of the casino? Nice mech. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Away, before I make mincemeat out of you.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I can do this.
Too bad. Prepare to die, fox boy. That would have been a pretty awesome line, but nah. Say hello to the final boss for Tails' story, the Egg Walker. Not to be confused with the AT-ST, or even an AT-AT from Star Wars. Totally different. Anyway, boss fight really is nothing too difficult whatsoever. All you have to do here is just, as soon as the Egg Walker unleashes its shockwave, or shock waves, as we get further into the fight, its legs that it uses to execute the shockwave will start to glow. Whack them with your tails and you'll be good. It's literally that easy. You just run back and forth, back and forth. Of course, he will try to unleash some bombs and other projectile weapons over the course of the fight, but really, it's nothing at all. Just keep up with the egg mech and you'll be able to dodge the bombs without a problem. Maybe the hardest bit will just be jumping over the shockwaves, but really, it's nothing at all. In fact, the Nile's already won. There we go. And that, as they say, is that.
Hey, I did it!
Indeed you did.
You saved the day! You're the best!
And yet, I hear applause, and yet I don't see applause. Game, you're being weird again! That's too funny. I'm done. my Tails' story is already complete, like sweet Jesus. Like we didn't already break the game enough as is. But for my personal opinion on Tails' theme, which is I believe in myself, or believe in myself, the version I like more is definitely the one in Sonic Adventure 2. Of course, granted, each version of the both Tails' theme and Sonic's theme both actually make a reappearance in Sonic Adventure 2. All other characters, with the exception of Amy, of course, have completely unique themes for not only this game but also Sonic Adventure 2. Speaking of which, our next story that we'll be taking on in the next session is going to be Amy's story, and depending on how fast I complete it, I might end up working on all of the other stories as well. So, Amy, Big the Cat, and E102 Gamma, maybe even the final story too. Depends on how fast things go. But for now though, I am well above the usual time. I am out of time for today, so I'm just going to go ahead and bid you all adieu. This is General Snivy with the Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut playthrough. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you were able to attend the live stream live, thank you for attending. Next time, we're going to be heading into the next story, which is going to be Knuckles, which I glossed over because I'm a goober. Anyway, next up will be Knuckles' campaign, and maybe we'll be able to finish everyone else's campaign as well in the next session, but we'll have to wait and see how things go and how fast we're able to complete everything. For now, though, we're done for today. Thank you all once again so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. See you all next time.